Okay, the first thing you are going to do is get one of your circles and your watercolor paper. You need to get 2 eyes out of this paper, so you need to start as close to the edge over here on the left side as possible. Hold your stencil down in the middle with your other hand and trace around your circle. Looks good. Now you need to get your other one to fit on there. You see how there's barely a gap in between right here? That's why I'm telling you, you have to be close to the edge. Again. Oh. Hold your stencil down so it doesn't move. You can see I made a mistake right there. That's okay. I can erase it after I cut it out. Next, I'm gonna make the pupil in the middle of the eye. That's the dark black spot. So I don't wanna use one of my circles that's too big. So this seems like a good one for me. I'm gonna try my best to get it in the middle. And trace it with your Sharpie. Before you color it in, you need to make some white marks. So like that, so there's a reflection in the eye. Then I'm going to color it in. Okay, next I'm going to, with my washable black marker, I'm going to outline the outside just barely, because you eventually want this to bleed in a little bit to your eye color once you paint in a second. Just barely going along the edge to give it a slight black outline. Okay. All right, now I'm ready to paint. You need to kind of think of what colors you're gonna use. I'm going to use like greens and yellows. So I'm going to start with yellow first. You always start with your lighter color first when you're using watercolor. And I'm just gonna start kind of putting it around. Now I'm gonna do some red, maybe. It's okay if your colors start blending together. I think I'm gonna do green on the outside. And then once you can see that I touched my paintbrush to the marker, it's going to start bleeding in, and that's the effect that you're going for. I think I'm going to do a little bit of purple on the inside here. And then some blue. That blue had a lot of color on it. A lot of paint. That's okay. Kind of covered up my purple, but that's fine. Now, I am going to wash my brush off in my water, wipe it on the side, and now I'm gonna kind of get these colors to kind of interact a little bit. So I'm just gonna dot around them so they can kind of blend together in some spaces. So you can see how my colors have kind of interacted with each other. If I need more color in certain spots, I'll just get more color. Like right here, it's kind of white more than the green like I wanted. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more in. Once you have the colors that you would like, do your next one. Okay, now that my Eyeballs are dry. You can see they don't exactly match, and that is perfectly fine. So now I'm gonna take a black ballpoint pen and I'm gonna start making details. So I'm just gonna start drawing lines. Try not to get any marker or any pen on the white part of the eye. Okay, you can see a lot of those details. Another way that you can do it is by kind of making like ovals. So just starting from the middle and going in and out. Again, you don't want to get onto that white part. So you can kind of see the differences in my technique. Either one works. I kind of prefer this one over this. So I'm just gonna take this one and now do the same thing. Pretty similar. This one's a little bit darker than these lines because I did it twice. I could go back and just add those lines like I did the first time on the first eye to kind of even it out a little bit. And now they look pretty even to me. Next, I'm going to take my white construction paper and I'm going to tear it into strips, trying to do my best to keep it all one size. Just go slow. Starting from the top. You don't want them too thick or too thin. You can tell it's about halfway of my pointer finger. It's about halfway up. Next, I'm going to make the edges of my torn paper a little yellow, just slightly, with my tempera paint, just to give it a little bit like of an aged look. You're going to do that on both sides. Remember, with any kind of paint, the more water you add, the less bright it is. So it'll be a lighter color. Okay, so I have my whole strip painted and I'm gonna keep doing that with the rest of them. My strips are done with the light yellow. I'm gonna take a little bit of my gold, very, very small amount. And I'm gonna brush over the top again. Right over that yellow that you just did. I'm barely touching the tip of my paintbrush to the edge. You're gonna do that with the rest of them now. All right, next, you're gonna take your black piece of paper. The eyes are gonna be closer to the top, but you can see it's not at the top yet, but I'm not gluing anything down yet. I'm just setting it on my paper, seeing what pieces are gonna work where. I actually think I'm gonna put one behind the eyes, like that. And go maybe over for that one. Across the bottom. I can layer, do a little bit of like a zigzag design. This one, actually, I think will go on top slightly. And then this one I might rip in half to go other directions. So once you kind of have an idea of what you want to do, then you can take it off and start gluing. Once I got my first layer on, I wanted to make sure that my edges weren't coming completely off the paper, but just a little bit. And I can cut it for you later when we're all done. So I have my first background page glued on, again, similar or kind of close to the top. So I'm gonna glue my eyes on next. Make sure you get enough glue on them. You need to hold it down for a few minutes or a few seconds. Count to like 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can tell I'm rubbing my fingers around just to make sure it's sticking. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Do my next eyeball. Make sure you got glue around the edges. Space it out as much as you want. You don't want it too far. I would say like a finger space in between. And again, count while you're pushing down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, I'm gonna continue now to glue my other strips across my paper. Get enough glue, please. Checking those edges again. I don't want it too far off the edge. Pushing them down. Go across it a couple times. Just like the eyes, maybe you want to count to 20. Looking good so far. Next one. Get that glue on the edges. You don't want to go completely straight across. Make them at kind of like an angle. Push it down, count to 20 as you move your hands across. Do another one. Get the edges. this one down towards the bottom. Flip it over. Pushing it down, really nice. So you can see that I've kind of crisscrossed some of mine. I still have one piece. I don't really feel like I need to layer it there. I could go to the top. But it's gonna get cut off on the edge. You see how much is left? So instead, I'm gonna rip it in half and glue them a different place. Kind of mess around, see what feels good. Maybe like that. Since I did decide to rip this one, I need to paint my edge that I ripped as well. Flip it over. Give it some glue. And I actually kind of want this one. I don't know. Maybe down here, up here. That seems like a good fit for me. So I'm gonna push it down again. Now you'll see when I flip it over, I have some edges coming off the back. That's okay, leave those. I will cut those for you. So now your mummy is done.